It's a Friday PFT. Usually I'm by myself on a Friday for PFT, but because Chris Simms found it in his heart to work on a Friday, isn't it fun to work on a Friday? Don't you want to work on more Fridays?
Well, I don't know if I want to work more Fridays, but I like working on a day after a lot of football games. That certainly made it better. So, no, I'm going to try to stay strong with my no Friday work policy, but it was good. We had a fun show today. It was a lot of fun.
It was a fun show, and we got some stuff to address that we talked about during the show, some things we didn't talk about, one topic we argued about during a break. So let's get to it. I want to start with something we did spend some time discussing, but the thing about doing a live TV and radio show, you're constrained by that clock. You have to shut up at a certain time. You got to land the plane, and you got to move on. Let's get back to the new replay review for pass interference. Regardless of whether you like it or not, and I don't like it, the reality is it's going to significantly change the game because now we've got the ever-present possibility that someone's going to throw a deep pass and there's not going to be a flag for pass interference, and somebody's going to throw the red challenge flag questioning whether or not there's pass interference. A couple of minutes later, Al Riveron from 345 Park Avenue is going to hand out 40 yards of field position. Last night it was 33 yards that he gave the Jets after Adam Gase challenged a no call of pass interference. Chris, this is a huge dynamic, and I hope they understand what it's going to do to the game.
Yeah, it is. I'm concerned, just like you are. There's a lot of moving parts here. First off, it's a subjective play. You and I and 10 other people in a bar could be watching the game, and 7 could say, 6 could say it's pass interference, 4 could not, or vice versa, whatever it may be. So
then it shouldn't be. That's the thing.
Yes, okay.
If there's any disagreement among those people in the bar, it should not be overturned. That subjective judgment call should be honored. That's my concern.
Okay.
It's got to be as clear as what we saw in Rams Saints before, and it's got to be clear and obvious and boom, not something you have to study or look at carefully. If you have to look at it carefully, it's not clear and obvious. And that's my concern, that you're going to have things that get overturned that in the past when there wasn't a flag thrown, nobody thought it was a big deal.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that was kind of close, but, it's a judgment call and we move on. Now, all of a sudden, you've got this new horizon of calls that you can say, hey, maybe that was pass interference, and the red flag comes out. Now Riveron agrees that it was.
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as the way it was last night, and I know you used the phrase like handing out 44 yards or 40 yards or 33 yards, whatever it may be. Hey, the non-call on the field was blown last night. That's the best way I could say it. It was applied correctly in that Giants-Jets game last night where we saw Adam Gase challenge it. The guy clearly had the hold of the wide receiver's wrist where he could not get another hand up there, and not just for like a split second. It was like grab, 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 and he never let go of it. So he had it locked down to where the guy never got a chance to put two hands to try to actually catch the football. So it was correctly applied there. But I'm with you. I mean, clear and obvious needs to be the phrase of the year. I don't want to see like ticky-tack or, there was some hand fighting by both sides, and then the guy who hand fought the last is the one that gets called as the ball was getting there, whatever it may be. Those are the things that scare me along with the pace of the game. We'll see. You made a good point about if there's a ton of pass interference calls, will they stay with, spot foul, right? If it's 40 yards downfield, you get 40 yards. Will they go to the college way with the 15 yards? I don't know. But either way, DBs better be on their P's and Q's this year because, things are going to be analyzed more than ever as far as what they're doing down the field while the ball's in the air.
I think the obvious next step is that indeed they're going to be pushing to change pass interference to a 15-yard penalty. That bubbles up from time to time in the NFL. I think that it becomes inevitable when we look at the consequences of Al Riveron dropping a flag from hundreds of miles away and giving a team that much field position. A third of the field went to the Jets last night based upon the review. And I still believe that the bar needs to be higher before we're going to invade the subjective judgment. It's one thing, Chris, to look at the shot of the sideline and see whether or not the guy got 2 feet down before he went out of bounds with a catch or whether or not his knee was down before the ball came out. That's undeniable. That's objective. I still think even the grab of the wrist, there's an element of subjectivity that comes into play here that I don't like having the judgment made in real time invaded. And even though you could argue last night, yeah, he did grab the wrist and hold it, and maybe it was a good decision, there's going to be plenty of these that we're complaining about where Al Riveron went too far. I guarantee you that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think there is too. Well, I mean, you know, Al, and he's got a tough job, and I know that. But he has not necessarily been the best with clear and obvious. Last year was a little bit better. 2 years ago, it was shaky. So it is certainly the aspect I am going to look at, and we're going to see. The more of these penalties are called and things, and we get to flush it out, I think, you know, more and more problems are going to kind of float to the surface.
Here's the other thing, too. Is this what they want? Do they want you and I every Monday morning breaking down in a full segment all of the pass interference calls and non-calls that shouldn't have been? Where and it's going to happen far more often than not, where a flag is thrown via replay review than where a flag is picked up. Because I think it's going to be almost impossible to have a flag picked up. Because if there's any contact and they say pass interference, then it's pass interference.
Yeah,
and how do you overturn it? It's going to be these situations where there's no call in real time and Al Riveron's dropping the flag. And we're going to end up talking about it a lot unless they make that bar higher.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.